Hello everyone, welcome back to Reading on Empty Book Review. A joke I will only find funny. Okay, let's get back to business. My name is DumandsONE, otherwise known as Uzi, and today I'm going to discuss my favorite books and kind of why you should read them and why I like them. Honestly, I haven't even picked out the books, but I know that my favorite books are all on my bookshelf. There might be maybe a book or two over there that I might have enjoyed, but I have no idea. I thought it'd be fun to make like a different sort of video. I mean, it's kind of chill. I took a week off. I'm back now. Hopefully the schedule is gonna be back to normal, which is every Wednesday and Saturday or Sunday. So if you don't get one this weekend, you can feel free to message me. As you can see, Fluffy Head has definitely got a haircut, and I know what you're thinking. Shock! You can read? Holy fuck. Well, I want to make you well aware that most of these books are teen and or young adult. Enjoy that. First book that I'm going to start with is the book that isn't necessarily good, but it would be like my favorite book. Mainly I just want to mention it so it's not going to be on my list of like whatever book. This is Maniac Mcgee. This is a children's book, or a teen book, a young teen book, by Jerry Spinelli. Basically, it's about a boy who, after his parents pass away, he goes to live with his aunt and uncle, who don't have a particularly good relationship. He decides one day he is just going to run away. And he's going to run so far away, he has no idea where he's gonna end up, and he ends up in a city. It's a city that is divided by race. So there's a side where all the white people live, and a side where all of the, in this book, black people live, or I guess African American. I mean, not all black people are African American. God fucking stupid pit. He has no idea, that, you know, that's a thing. The reason why this book is included in my list is not because it's a particularly good book, though I would say it's fairly okay. The reason why I chose this book was because when I was younger, I didn't really know how to read. I learned how to read at a very late age, and this was the book that made me want to read. Little me was really into this book. This author is my favorite author, and although his books are mostly for teens and young adults, his books pose like really interesting things. Stargirl. I would say that out of every Jerry Spinelli book he has ever written, Stargirl is probably the best book he has ever written. And I'm not specifically talking about Stargirl because Love Stargirl, which is the second book, you know, the series is basically like the best thing that he's written from what I've read of his, and I have a lot of his books, is the story of a young girl who moves into a town, and she used to be homeschooled, and she's very strange. This boy, Leo, he kind of like falls in some sort of infatuation with her and becomes low-key like very obsessive with her, but the issue with Leo is that he only wants to be normal. And Stargirl is not normal. She's strange. She has a fucking wheelbarrow full of pebbles that like represent her happiness and her sadness and stuff. And she's just strange. He doesn't do anything like particularly bad, but he sort of ruins the relationship in some sort of way. But Stargirl is such a nice book. I do recommend that regardless if it is good or not, that you should read the second one. And the only reason like you should read the second one is because it's like 100 times better than the first. I know that usually never happens, but it fucking happened. Because Love Stargirl is like my favorite Jerry Spinelli book. Maniac Mcgee is my favorite book. just for the sake of being like an old time book. It's like my oldest favorite. Love, Stargirl is my favorite Jerry Spinelli book. Love, Stargirl is basically the continuation, but the only difference is that it's written in letters to Leo. Because, spoiler, well, not really spoiler, but at the end of Stargirl, Stargirl moves away. And so she begins writing letters to Leo in the second one, illustrating just about her life and how she feels. And the narration from Leo, it's first-person narration, just letting you know, just for those of you who don't like that, because I don't particularly like that. But it's fine. They do it pretty well in the first and the second. It's from her perspective. And she feels a lot more human. Like, the first one makes her kind of, I mean, because it's from the eyes of Leo, who basically, like, kind of idolizes her in some sort of way, but he also hates her in some sort of way, so you don't really learn that much about her perspective. But in Love, Stargirl, it's about her, and it's her perspective. God, I'm fucking going on forever about goddamn Love, Stargirl. Jesus fucking Christ, get to the wing wang point, man. That's number 1 on my list. Love, Stargirl, but you read Stargirl first. Have a grand old time. Tell me how it is in the comment section if you do read it, or if you have read it. On to the next, baby. Oh yeah, on to the next. Know how I reminded you that most of the books that I enjoy are kids' books? Well, the next one we have is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. And by the way, there's a second book. It's called The House at Pooh Corner. Whoa! They go together, so it's fine. It's just a good book. I love the Winnie the Pooh series so much, like the original, so much. There's more books. There's, oh my god. There's When We Were Young. My copy's severely disgusting. And Now We Are 6. They all go together. Now We Are 6 and When We Were Very Young, I think, or yeah, When We Were Very Young are poem books. But Winnie the Pooh and The House of the Pooh Corner are just the storybooks. If you like Winnie the Pooh, you will enjoy this book. It is not like a kid's book per se. It's written like, you know, a normal book. Like, it has a couple illustrations here and there, and it's got a couple poems and stuff like that. And I just really enjoy the Winnie the Pooh books. I have several of them. These are my copies, I would say. They're just kind of like offy copies that I got. I have like my copies like that are like special edition up there, and I have like copies like from like 19 fucking whatever. So I really like this book, and I really like Winnie the Pooh. He's just a grand old dude. That was simple, like fucking, but I had to go on about goddamn fucking Stargirl, bitch. Okay, my next book. It happens all the time. The next book that I have, you'll start to notice a theme. All of my books are meant for people who are 14. Or you've probably already read. But if you haven't read A Series of Unfortunate Events, I would say you should read A Series of Unfortunate Events. I have all of them. Like, I'm talking all of them, but I'm talking like the special, like, secret, like, The Life of Lemony Snicket fucking cipher book somewhere. I don't have it here, but in high school, look, I wanted to read it again. Demonize shit. When I was in high school, I basically, like, in grade 9, I had a great time. Grade 9, I would say, is my favorite year. I don't know. It's the year where a lot of things were good and everything went fairly well. Grade 10 was when everything went to shit. For me, at least. And I was just kinda, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to interact with anybody. I just kinda went into the library and read. That year, I read the most books I have ever read in my entire life. And the reason why people think that, or people from my life think that I am a reader, because I'm not a reader. I don't really like reading because it takes so long. I don't like it because I probably have ADHD, and also because my reading level is always going to be questioned. Because like I said, I learned how to read and write at a very late age. If you want to hear about that, I'm willing to make a story time or a video. That year I read a lot of books. I'm talking most of the books that I am like talking about, like I read the Winnie the Pooh series. I read the Stargirl thing, I read Loser, I read Crash, I don't even remember what fucking happened in Crash. I didn't talk about that book, but I didn't talk about like a couple of these books, but I read a whole bunch of fucking books. And so I read the Lemony Snicket series, or at least I got until the Horrid Hospital. No, the Hostile Hospital. Is that, which one? The Hostile Hospital. And I haven't actually read the entire series, but for those of my friends who have, they've only ever said that the series is good. And I would buy these books like fucking like at used bookstores. Like fucking everyone owns these books, okay? I swear to God, you don't even need to go to a fucking like Indigo or what have you. You can probably find this at your local fucking grandma's basement. Anyway, Lemony Snicket, for those of you who don't know, is about the Baudelaire children. They're orphaned and they go to live with their cousin 500 times removed. His name is Count Olaf. He's a dick. He wants their money, and the entire book is him scheming against them, trying to basically steal their money, murder everyone they love. You know, the back, this says like, if you are holding this book, fucking put it down, bitch. Don't fucking put it down. Keep on reading. Or Netflix has a series, which is good. This is probably not as good as the book, but it's pretty sound. So you can also do that. Oh, it happens all the time. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And no, I don't have this because I'm fucking Jewish. I know one of you was thinking it. I'm coming for you. It's about a young boy named Bruno who one day he walks along this fence outside of his new home, and he discovers a little boy who is wearing striped pajamas with a bald head. It is about Nazi Germany. The young boy who is behind the fence is a Jewish boy who is in a concentration camp, and the camp is, I believe, Auschwitz. And they get along. Bruno has no idea that, you know, this young boy is trapped in there. And it's sort of like a really ever-present reminder that, you know, the people that captured people like the boy in the striped pajamas, they could be anybody. It's one of those books. Like, it's one of those, oh, fuck, that happened, shit. The book, I would say, has a very slow pace, but it picks up quite a lot around the ending. And you'll be pleasantly surprised if you've never read this book or seen the movie. I suggest reading the book first and watching the movie, because the ending of the book is a lot harsher, I would say, and in the sense of the topic, it feels more necessary. The movie is still very good. It's just basically the only thing they changed was the ending, but yeah, the movie's pretty good, but I suggest reading the book. I read it in my French class. Not French, per se, but the French class in question that I read it in. I did not like the teacher, so I read books in her class because fuck her. Still fuck her. I walked off in her class. Another story for another time, okay? On to my next book, bitch. My next book is my favorite book. This is the book I tell all my friends to read. This is the book that I read so fucking fast, you might as well call me fucking Speedy Gonzales, bitch. Book of the Dead Days by Marcus Sedgwick. I had to look at his name because I low-key kind of forgot. What did I save? There are like little pages with little papers that are saved. Ooh, I saved the sentence, "Death has 1,000 doors to let out life. I shall find one. The miller sees not all the water that goes by his mill. And the third thing I saved, look at little me, so organized. The stars still move, time still runs, the clock will strike, the devil will come. This is just a good fucking adventure. It is about a magician slash alchemist, I guess, named Valrain. As a child, I mispronounced his name quite a lot. I used to call him Valfarain for some reason, but that's not his name. And his assistant boy, ironically named Boy. He and Boy go off on this adventure to go and look for this book called the Book of the Dead Days. The Dead Days are the days between Christmas and New Year. It is basically not when the year changes yet, but it is also not when everyone is joyously happy for Christmas. And so they have those days to try and find this book. It's like a fucking riot. And this book, oh, and there's a girl named Willow in it. I forgot to mention her. She's also important. She kind of comes along. She's a good girl. This book is just a fucking adventure. It is a book that I picked up because I read what is it? I read fucking Magician. And I was like, fucking, I love Fullmetal Alchemist. I basically picked up this book because I was really into Fullmetal Alchemist, and it said, but will alchemy and sorcery be the match against the demonic powers pursuing him? And I was like, fucking alchemy, bitch? I love it. So fucking Fullmetal Alchemist fucking gave me this book. Jesus Christ. The fuck a lot. So they go off on this adventure, and there's so many twists and turns. This book is basically the reason why I keep on looking at the goddamn fucking viewfinder, man. I hate it. It's awful. This book is the reason why I really love description in books, because this book gave it to me. This book basically like describes things to like extremes. It like describes like the inside of a magician's box really intensely, and like curling toes and hair grease and stuff like that. And I am real fucking into those types of descriptions. It's just wonderful. There's so many surprises. Hefty book, so you can probably like get it down in a little while. It keeps you guessing. It keeps you really, really interested. This book is my favorite book, and it goes in pair with its second book, which is The Dark Flight Down. This, I think this is the only book that he made a sequel to. By the way, it's like gothic. I don't know if that's like necessary to say, but if you're into gothic novels, this is one of them. It's about death. It's got a lot of fucking magic. It has a lot of the devil in it. Dark Flight Down is the sequel to it. You don't necessarily have to read it. I would say that the first book pretty much, it finishes, it rounds it off. Dark Flight Down is just kind of a continuation conclusion. It's mostly about the young servant boy. Not that he isn't the main character in the first book, but it's like really about him in the second one. Whether this one is really about the sorcerer in stuff. If you want to read it, you can still just read this one. This one's still good, though not exceptionally good. There's still a lot of twists and turns. It's still pretty thick. Those are my books. Honorable mentions is The Catcher in the Rye, just a good old book. I stole this from my school. The Spiderwick Chronicle, and the book Loser, which is another Jerry Spinelli book, which you should probably read as well. Anyway, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed this, tell me your favorite books in the comment section and I will reply if I am inclined to reply. My battery is beeping, so I gotta fucking end this real fast. As always, stay Gucci, my friends, and goodbye!